Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Oh my god. Um, I don't feel like I need to um talk to Tux anywhere anytime soon. Anybody who's gonna patronizingly tell me how my existence, my ideas will outlast those of a homophobic, misogynistic, uh, transphobic bigot ought to be consolation enough for me to carry on. Well, he sits by and plays poker with a motherfucker. There goes my monetization, which I don't have. Wish I did, but what the hell? That was so frustrating. I'm sitting here going, what the fuck, mate? All you need to do is say more than I have your back. I have your back. You will win. I'll have your back. You will win in the end. You know what, folks? You know what? I'm fucking near 70 years old. I have, let's see, what's it today? The 12th? Oh, right. Today, 21 years ago, today. Hold on, folks. Wait a second. I'm going to go away. You just sit right here. I'm going to be yelling away from the screen. I need to go do something. All right. Hold on. Hold on. I'm walking away. You may lose connection. Doing what I can. Ah, God damn it. What a fucking douchebag. Jesus. Just a perpetual exile, and whatever community I get into, I wind up being a perpetual exile. Oh, always contribute. God damn it. You know what? The thing that's funny, the thing that's funny about all that is like what uh what wound up leading to that whole thing was my making the equivalence of, hey, you know what? But that's the thing that the good father is saying is pretty much the same thing that Doug is saying. It's like, and I really don't care about Doug. It shouldn't be a big deal, but it's clearly a big deal with dogs. It's like, man, I gotta stick in with this guy. I just gotta stick in with this guy. And Tux is sitting there, well, you're gonna win, you're gonna win, you're good, you're all good. It's like, yeah, but mate, how are you on side with why I'm going to win or why we are going to win when you are in this guy's corner saying, well, well, at least he's making you stronger. Folks, I don't know if you know too many trans people, but I'm going to tell you, if I may be frank, they're some of the strongest people you will ever meet in your life. When you're 3 years old, and you really don't know girl from boy much, or you really don't have language, and you're doing a task, and your mom says, good boy, and you go, no, girl. And your mom goes, no, that's impossible. Come over here. I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap. Well, and then you do it again and again and again, and all of a sudden your mom realizes, hey, there's something going on here. And you don't know because you're 3, 4, 5. You don't know. You don't have the language. I know so many trans people who say, I didn't have the language. I didn't either. And it's not a matter of the language, it's a matter of the feeling. It's a matter of how you are. And it's taken years for people to understand this. In in psychology, it's like some people are who they say they are. It's very curious. I'll be 70 in 18 days. I still don't understand it. I have no idea. I don't have the language. I mean, I do because the language has been developed over the course of my entire life. But in the 70 years of my life, apparently, the people that write legislation, the people that spread bullshit about people like me on the internet haven't learned a goddamn thing. But, you know, Jesus. Gonna dip out for another second because I have biological needs. I I know. It's that's the way it goes. Hang on. Fuck. Yikes. Right then. Think I'm a little bit back in the saddle. Whoa. Yeah. Oh no. Are you buffering? Am I buffering? I was buffering. I know that. Okay. You see me. Can you hear me? Let me know. Oh, the background is buffering. Okay. Well, I understand that because my background is Cape Elizabeth, Maine, and it's dark. And yeah, okay. Hang on, people. I'll try to get my shit back together. It's rather difficult. Jesus Christ. Maya, what the hell are you doing up at this hour? Girl, you gotta. Tux is a liberal. Tux, hey, listen, man. Thanks for coming. I'm not gonna sit here and shit on you. All right. I'm gonna get away from that stuff. where was I? Back on topic. I want to focus on the. Let me get what if my background is buffering and it's distracting. I can get rid of Cape Elizabeth and go back to that. I just I, atheist side. I don't know. Maybe I could do something better than that. No, not that. Not better. I'll go back to Clabber Island. It's nice. I just have a hard time. I'm just why is it so difficult for people to understand the risk? And people who are in uh, the focus of eliminationists to not think they're not going to be eliminated. I don't understand. And why is it so easy for people like Doug to simply say, oh, well, if people say it's okay, then it's okay. I mean, I really should do some snips of the conversation I had on the stream I did when Doug came in on his own volition. And said these things. Do I care about him? Not much. I didn't invite him. I don't even fucking care. I mean, have I ever done anything on this channel that is not just simply self-generated? Seriously? I mean, I've only talked about my life, my opinions. I don't get it. It seems to me that people don't like to hear the uncomfortable truth that many people, not all people. I mean, my closest friends in real life, the close friends I've made online, get it. But it really fucking hurts when people abstract who I am into something of their imagination. Where when even people who are in opposition to a number of my views, basically will twist it around and say, well, Steph agrees with me. They'll point at me at the as the ooh, exemplary, one of the good ones, trans people. It's like, what the fuck, man? What happened tonight then on Tux's channel? It's like it was really a diversion. We turned into the Doug thing, and we turned into it. And it's like, well, Stephanie's throwing it that way. Yeah, maybe it was part of where my mind goes often. But I was really I was really kind of taken by the pretzel logic that Father Chuck or Friar Chuck um needed to go. I mean, we were having a good conversation about it's like, look, it's just all stories. And that's what humans do. We create stories, and the stories are wonderful. And we all want to tell stories. That's what we do. That's why we're on YouTube. We're telling stories. So I'm here now. That's why you're listening. You want to hear stories. You want to hear my story. You want to hear Tox's story. You want to hear Maya's story. You want to hear everybody's story. It's like, wow, these are fascinating stories. And why can't we just let it? Why not? How hard is that? That's what I'm trying to do in this in this stream. It's like it shouldn't be that hard to just tell our stories. And to listen to our stories for our own selves. Listen to the lies we tell ourselves. Listen to the bullshit we feed ourselves. Listen to the bullshit we feed each other. And actually sort of realize our common end, our beginning, our end, and to capture the fact we didn't know we were going to be here. We don't know when we're not gonna be here, and no one can tell us how either one of the bookends work. No one can tell us that. I mean, you can go consult a doctor and go, "Hey, doc, when am I gonna die?" I mean, I'm a number of pregnant people will discover they're pregnant, and 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 the doctor will say, "You are due." The doctor will be wrong. And I really do think that many of the stories that we tell are things we do to pass the time. We just Yeah, we tell our stories to pass the time, and some of us tell the stories to pass the time for profit. And that's not necessarily a bad thing either, because you know what? I'm telling my story to pass the time for a little bit of profit, at least not profit, but survival. Which, by the way, in my uh, in y'all who are familiar with my stuff, and I will put some links in there. I could use some help right now. I'm kind of fucking broke, but getting along. That's the kind of the ultimate thing I'm saying. It with with uh with the stories with the thing we were reviewing earlier, and in the whole back and forth with and the whole knuckling forward. It's like, who cares really? Um, where who honestly, who really gives a fuck? Uh, but someone believes. I mean, you could, and you should. It's like, I understand. It's like argue. It's like, well, this is garbage. It's like, if you believe this garbage, then you'll believe any kind of garbage, and that's great. And that's kind of the focus on a lot of the call-in shows y'all and and I pay attention to, and yeah, that's almost a mantra of the ACA or the line or the people who are doing this. What do you believe and why? It's like, yeah, fine. My question is more focused on what do you believe and how? I don't care about the why. It's like, I, my own my ontology, like, blah, 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 my ontological level and my epistemological blah blah blah. Oh, what do you believe and how? What do you believe? What does it make you do? And I do think I do think it's rather interesting in thinking of, where do these atheists positions, and where do they, the particularly the what do you believe and why position come from? It's um, sort of a wanting to back up the crazy shit they believed in before they started not to. That wasn't very clear. I'll try to refine that. Maybe I should try to write that shit down. All right. I'm gonna let's see, what am I gonna do? Yeah, I'm just gonna throw a fucking link in here. I don't give a shit. Look at folks. At this point, I gotta tell you, I am celebrating 21 years since uh gender genital reconstructive surgery today. 21 years ago at this, oh yeah, 5:30. Yeah, I had evacuated all of my internals, and it sucked. I wouldn't recommend the procedure for those for the weak-hearted. I really wouldn't. But anyway, it was it was it was a time. I I really looked on it as my rebirth day. I mean, it, it was it was an adventure, I guess. An adventure of becoming, but only a part of an adventure that I'd been on for 48 years previously. And had started 4 years, 4 years previous prior to that. What was but wasn't a journey of my entire life. I mean, I don't know if I've carried any of the stuff into Texas Stream, but I didn't mean to. But if I did, I do carry my life into every stream I enter, and I don't mean to turn it as Tux said I would had turned the thing, and I didn't want to. Although I will say, bitch that I am. People who are fanboys of a guy, orbiters, you might say, of a guy who considers shitting on trans people fun. Your apologies to me are not welcome. Purple, what do you mean? Did I put a link out? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh yeah. Wait a sec. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I lost track. It's late, man. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna invite people. Wait a second. Copy. Yeah, man. Copy. I think I'll paste this into chat. Being an idiot. Look, it's late. I'm crazy. I want you people to come in here and wish me a happy 21st, you motherfuckers. Just put the link in there. I will pin it, but it's always complex. Oh, Tots, you can come in. I'm sorry. I'm an asshole. You should know that by now. You really, it's like, please. If anybody who has encountered me anywhere in the atheist community, it's like, oh my God. There was a recent, I'm not going to get into the details, but there was a recent sort of dusty thing that happened in the atheist community, and uh uh one channel was doing something that was a little sus, and an other channel who had observed a similar sus thing going on uh urged someone to DM me and say, you ought to go in there and tell them to stop doing that. And it's like, what the fuck, people? I just seem like I'm the.
Humans are always sus. That's a
I'm the
given.
Mikey of the atheist community. Oh, ask Mikey. He hates everything. Purple, I love you.
I know. I love you too. So happy drunken day. Yeah, after that last exchange, I had to go and break out the whiskey.
Really? What are you drinking for whiskey?
Actually, I like Windsor Canadian. It's a mid-shelf brand.
Okay.
Not too expensive, but still has a good taste. And I mix it with ginger ale, so I don't need to be super smooth with such a sweet mixer.
Well, this is Gosling's 151, and it is somewhat diluted by ice cubes. And it is a good deal more delicious and less emetic than Go Lightly. Which, by the way, is the thing that flushes you all out before you do all the thing.
Oh, native atheist. My father used to drink the wild turkey. That was the stuff I used to siphon off his bottles when I was like 12.
You know, wild turkey will actually, if you hold a lighter over the top of the bottle, it'll go.
I never knew that, but yeah, my dad always had like a half dozen bottles hidden in various points of the garage. So he drank it so much that I could go in there and I could siphon off a baby food jar every now and then, and he never noticed it missing. So yeah, I was drinking quite a few years before I should have.
All right, so Tux, yeah, you're sober and tired, night all, and that, I guess that's
Night
cool.
Tux, sleep on it and process everything tonight.
Yeah, just process it, really, man. I mean no ill will, but you need to feel the pain.
Well, yeah,
Really.
I forget who had said it in the side chat there, but it doesn't matter if they're coming for the trans or the atheist first. They're going to get all of us. It's just a matter of what order they tick us off in.
Yeah. And the thing is, you need to be aware of the little clicks that go down. And when you're not aware of each tiny click that goes down, that takes away somebody's right, somebody's access to full humanity. And you don't step in and say, hey, quit it. That's how this shit happens. That's my point. And it doesn't matter how. You need to get people to speak when it happens to the people that are letting it happen. I don't care about the levels and levels and levels. How big my channel is, how big Purple's channel is, how big Saitan Budenkate's channel is, how big Matt Dillahunty's channel is. It doesn't fucking matter. You need to do it with where you can and when you can. It's that desperate. And that's the nature of what King wrote in the letter from the Birmingham jail. You need to be present. Oh, God.
Well, and we need to make noise about the causes that matter to us.
Hi.
Hi. Haven't seen you in
Hello.
a coon's age.
I don't think we've met before.
Hello. To be on Pussy Talk.
MCARP and I were
Hi, I'm
I think we spent a lot of time on the ACA Discord ages ago. And it's good to see
I
you
think
again.
I've seen him in side chat a few times, but that's all I know about him.
Anywho, got some thoughts?
Yeah, I was in the ACD, and when Stephanie had to go, I was very crushed.
I don't want to relive that whole fucking mess, but but it's good to see you around. I appreciate you being
I
here.
thought I had found a home, and then you were gone.
Yeah, seriously, I was having trouble keeping my eyes open, and I would have been asleep if that hadn't gotten all wound up again.
Purple, I'm sorry I deprived you of sleep because
well, you
both you and I
doing it.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess I'll just try to carry on here.
Is my lag any better? I don't know.
Huh? You're fine, MCARP. You're fine. You're all fine. The name's blurry. It's native atheist.
What would happen if I took myself off mute and just left it? Would it feed back?
It shouldn't. I only keep muting mine because I cough a lot.
You're fine.
I need to get some headphones.
Chat, tell me something. Yeah. Is everybody okay?
I'm just going to keep it on mute.
I just need to know. It's just I don't even know. I don't have my YouTube thing open. I probably should do that more than anything else. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Title of the stream, what the back? Huh? What the heck? Yeah. What the heck?
Yeah, I think what the back is taken.
No, that I'm Freudian slip. Purple.
I know.
And perhaps an inside joke, and wasn't intentional.
Okay, honestly, the jokes and the sarcasm are going right by me right now because I'm too tired and I'm fighting off a sinus infection, so my brain's only running at like half speed.
Honey, don't do that sinus infection stuff because that's always.
I know it sucks, but it happens to me a couple times a year.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I'm trying to.
And unfortunately, it always comes with massive headaches. I think it's because we should be frozen solid by now, so the leaf mold shouldn't be a problem anymore, but it is.
Ah. Well,
For some
it's
stupid
not
reason, it's November in Minnesota and we're still getting temperatures in the 40s.
really. Well, it's in the 20s right now here. So,
Yeah, I can't believe it's been this warm this week. We've only had one snowfall that actually gave us ground cover and it all melted again.
we haven't had any snow yet, which is fine as far as I'm concerned.
We should have a few inches on the grass by now.
Yeah, it, on the Atlantic coast, it doesn't. It's very unpredictable.
Well, with the help of generous people in this community, I finally managed to get back to Minnesota in 2000. And yeah, the winters here have not been what they should be. And I've been looking at them compared to the 30-year averages, and yeah, none of the winters since I've been back have gotten anywhere near the snowfall that we average. So the weather patterns have shifted already.
I'm curious. Does this mean that you are headed to Nunavut?
To what?
Nunavut,
I don't know that word.
the Northwest Territories of Canada, in order to preserve your love of Arctic winters.
If it had been an option, I would have moved to Canada at any point since George W. got elected, but they won't take me.
Why not?
Yeah, because I have a disability.
Okay.
They don't think I would be
Yeah,
a
you
productive
don't want to
member.
have a
Become an ice trucker.
disability or an OUI if you want to move to Canada.
What's an OUI?
They a DWI,
Oh, okay,
driving while intoxicated. They won't even let you into Canada if you've got one of those on your record, which is rather interesting. It's like, oh, we don't want drunks. We've got enough of our own.
No, I don't have anything like that on my record.
Well,
The only thing on my record was writing a bunch of bad checks 30 years ago.
no. I'm working on building up an awful lot of criminal offenses in the few years that I have left.
Regios, I didn't know that you had been in Minnesota. Yeah, in that blizzard in 91, I was taking Sloth Girl's daughter trick-or-treating when that started.
You know, I just want to say to all of you lovely people who are here at 5:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, how much I appreciate you all. I really, I can't, my heart is full. That y'all will tune into my rantings and ravings and tolerate my being the crazy lady that I am. I really appreciate you all. I do.
Well,
It's a hard thing.
I'm just glad to know that you're still here after the ACD experience, because that was just so terrible. I
Kind of sucked.
believe how they treated you there. You know what they told me when I was over there and was actually speaking a few times? They said, "Well, you're the typical angry atheist." And I said, "I feel like I have a reason to be angry, and I want people to know that I'm angry because I spent
You know,
years and years being tortured by Christians, and now I'm just supposed to be quiet. So when I hear you over there ranting about being down the rabbit hole and being at the tip of the spear, I'm like, you go, girl. That's what you're supposed to be doing. If we had more people like you, we might have won. We might have won.
we're gonna
But
win. That's a,
you,
you know,
oh,
I don't disagree.
remember
I
the
don't
ACD?
disagree with.
You know, when ACD just treats us like shit, I can't even go there anymore.
I don't disagree with Tux. Yeah, we are gonna win. It's not a question of that, but we're not gonna win. It makes it a lot more difficult when people make excuses for people who are willing to just sort of sidestep the issues. That's the thing that drives me mad.
Did it seem like to you that he just flip flopped after some period of time and started just
Huh?
being totally on Doug's side? And I was like, what's going on here?
I don't. I think that the way this works. The way this works is like we're all humans, right? We all have alliances. We all make our social networks, and when principles and alliances conflict, we find ourselves in a difficult place. It happens all the time.
Well,
It's
personally,
And
almost as if,
hopefully we can find our way clear to bridge those issues and then move on. It's like if we can agree again, what the most important thing is what's going to happen in the end. What's going to happen that's going to improve. Dillahunty makes the case of secular humanism that's the greatest good that for well-being. And if you're stuck in a paradigm where it's like if your personal things are standing in the way of that, then maybe you need to do more work in your personal networks to increase awareness of, well, maybe if we're going to, maybe we could work harder towards well-being for these people or those people or blah, blah, blah. It's like, how do we evaluate this stuff within this context?
well, the people I'm surrounded by are more worried about the glory to God than they are about the well-being of humans. And I think if they were actually concerned about the well-being of humans, it wouldn't matter what kind of human you are. You know, it wouldn't matter what kind of ape you are. it wouldn't matter what kind of animal you are. We could
Right.
advocate for the well-being of all beings that can feel something. And as long as they're worried about the glory to God, then I feel like it all goes to shit.
Yep.
And it's like you asked him to choose between Doug and you, and he's got to choose Doug. Because it's not about human well-being. I don't understand.
If these people were actually concerned with human well-being over somebody's interpretation of the Bible, they wouldn't be passing laws that prevent doctors from performing life-saving abortions.
That's right.
Here, I'm going to make somebody pissed off. Somebody's going to get pissed off. That's what I do.
You're good at it.
The glory to God. It's if I am made in God's image, and you are too. If I give you glory, isn't that giving glory to God? If I see the divine in you, isn't that acknowledging our common
Thou art God.
trust? I don't understand how difficult it is for people to grasp the idea that we are all just critters running around on this earth. Out of our imaginations come gods.
Yep.
Out of our imaginations come a lot of things, but out of our practical interactions come friendships and trusts. And as when I read the stories from people of thousands of years ago, they say the same thing. If you can recognize the commonality of our human experience, you're gonna be better off than if you just basically crater yourself into these. Here we are, there they are, and we need to fight because otherwise we don't succeed. And that's what that was the dichotomy I was trying to overcome tonight. It's like Doug's fine. He's okay as a person. He's a nice guy and all of that stuff, but he hates me.
Yeah, you're nicer about him than I would be.
Oh, I know.
I can't consider him a nice guy when he's, spouting viewpoints that can get me killed.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to, and that's the dichotomy that I find is extremely difficult to convey to a number of people who say, well, what's in the atheist community, it's like, well, it's like he's a good guy, but once you step over a particular line, you can agree with someone on their atheism.
Yeah.
You can disagree with somebody on their theism. But if the atheist and the theist agree that your existence is not allowed, then you don't get,
It's an
by
abomination
virtue
to
of
God.
your atheism, to say the atheist is innocent. And I don't think Tux is sitting there saying, well, Tux was basically saying, yeah, well, you're right. You're gonna win the argument. But that doesn't help if you're not standing next to me.
Yeah.
Right. That's exactly it.
Well, and even if we've got the facts to win the argument, that's not stopping them from passing laws against us getting our medicine.
And it's not stopping fucking. Sorry, excuse me. I'm looking around right now. It's not stopping fuckface Doug from making that argument.
Yeah, well, and that's the point I was trying to make by...
That's the thing that sucks. And it's like, look, you're standing with a dude who is making that argument that these laws ought to be passed.
Well, and that's the only
It
point I
doesn't
was
do me any
making by
good
the
saying,
number of
well,
subscribers.
you're going to win when I'm not winning.
Yeah.
And you're not standing with me. And you're not standing against this guy's position. It's like, I'm not saying you need to think to stake out a position that the guy is an untouchable. I'm saying that you need to say you oppose his position.
Yes. That's what I kept waiting for him to say. And he wouldn't say. He kept saying, I support Doug. And I was like, how can you support him?
He makes you stronger. It's like, yeah, he makes me stronger. Sure. I don't dispute that, but I don't need your patronizing fucking attitude. I'm plenty strong. I don't need Doug to be fucking telling me how to be strong. I'm a trans woman. I'm 70 years old. I've gone through a fuck ton of trouble in my life from the time I was 3. You don't get to tell me how to be strong. You asshole. You don't. Apologies to Tux, but you don't. You just don't. Nobody knows the trouble I see. Nobody knows but Jesus. Nobody knows the trouble I seen. Glory, hallelujah. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't like that Jesus guy that much, really. I just don't like him.
Well, that is metaphor too. You can't just fucking do that stuff to me, dude.
Well, I can't like somebody that thinks I'm an abomination, and if I lay with a man, as if with a woman, I'm an abomination. So, and all my friends who have that same disposition, I can't like people who are against all of those. So I mean, it would be nice if Jesus were, I don't know, a trans person or whatever. And, he would understand that, human rights, that's what it ought to be. But it's always been the glory of God. And until we get rid of the glory of God, I don't know. How can you convince people who only care about the glory of God and not about human rights? Would you be asking what kind of humans need rights if it wasn't just the glory of
That's
God?
an excellent point. What kind of humans need rights?
Right?
What the
What kind of fucking, that's always blown me away. What kind of humans do you have to be? Well, Baptists are the wrong kind of humans. Catholics are the wrong kind of humans. And Hindus are the wrong kind of humans. And, queer folks and left-handers and atheists and trans folks are all the wrong kind of humans. How can that be?
I don't know, folks. I just want to keep on rolling, basically. I do actually, personally, I do like Doug. I like his, I appreciate his skill and all. And I don't think he's a terrible person. But I think he's terribly wrong. And I think he's also terribly dangerous. That's all. I mean, he literally asked, when he came on my stream, he said, "Do you think I am doing harm to trans people?" And I said, "Absolutely, yes, you are." Has he changed? No. Did he do that, in a manipulative fashion? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, why would he have asked you that if he wasn't, willing to internalize it and adjust his behavior?
Thing is, Purple, he didn't clip any of it. He didn't clip any of the shit that he said when we were on my stream. He didn't. Which is interesting to me. I don't know. And I'm not obsessed with the guy. I'm just like, but he just keeps, he's a bad penny, keeps coming up. I don't know. I think that's because he's been an element in this realm of where I've circulated. It's like he's been around, and I didn't even know about the fucking guy. Somebody said, "Oh, Doug's talking about you." It's like, who the hell is this? Jester, what's going on? Lord of Fools. You're here. Say something, mate.
The Lord of Fools has been talking in the side chat.
I know. But the Lord of Fools is on the stage and could be talking here. Man. Get your mic working. You idiot. NJ, my God, how nice to see you. I haven't been paying enough attention. YouTube punk, I love you. I love you all.
Thank
Right.
you. We love you too.
Sorry, I had to be answering something in another window.
Atheist has been here. I've been so neglectful, just sort of sitting here being an asshole.
I'm sorry, I must have missed the part where you were being an asshole.
Yeah, I'm just totally an asshole 100% of the time. So yeah, this is the 21st anniversary of my rebirth. In a certain respect, and I have my my surgeon's report, and it's like reading through it is rather, you did what?
Well, I'm making progress. I have an
Oh, yeah.
appointment in a few months to be put on the waiting list for surgery. Long and short, that translates to it's still going to be at least a year.
Yeah.
On the bright side, the surgeon they're referring me to, 3 people in my trans support group had the same surgeon, and they all spoke very highly of the surgical team there.
Hello.
Ah, yes, we hear you now.
Hello. Chester.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
I have to speak loudly, but hopefully I won't wake the neighbors.
And hello to Spooky Bed Hair.
Hello, Spooky Bed
Spooky
Hair.
bed hairs here.
Yeah,
Yes.
just came in as far as I can tell.
Ah.
Have you heard me speak now, Spooky Bed Hair? And happy 21st, Stephanie.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I said it in the other stream, and I want to say it again because I think it's important to the discussion. There's the I can't pronounce it very well, but there is a old Greek mechanism. It dates back to the 2nd century BC. It was sort of a clock. We didn't have there they didn't come up with springs or anything, so you had to wind it to where you wanted, but it tracked planets. It tracked when the Olympic and other like games were done in Greece. It tracked the seasons. It tracked constellations and all these sorts of things. And then 386 AD came around, and the Christians systematically burned all the Greek teachings they could because they viewed them as heresy. And it took us till the fucking Enlightenment to get that knowledge back. To start getting that knowledge back. So when somebody tells me that we have the truth on our side, so we're going to win, I sit there and I go, you know, centuries is a long ass time to fight for it back when we have people like Greg Locke running around and saying, let's burn all the books again.
Yeah, and honestly, it may be
Well-
self-centered of me, but if we're not going to see results until after I'm dead, it seems kind of anticlimactic.
Well, that is why I. That is actually why I asked the question, how old are you? I wasn't trying to be an asshole about it. It's like, what do you remember? Because what you remember can be erased.
Mhm.
It can be erased within almost a blink.
Well, and I am concerned with Beyond Me because my oldest daughter is a lesbian. So, they're on the short list too.
We should all be concerned about the
In
the
fact, I think-
ability to pass on the ability to deal with the curious nature of existence. We're ultimately, this planet is going to be erased. Ultimately, human life is going to be destroyed because everything dies. But what we have the capacity to do is to make the ensuing time cool for ourselves and for our children, for our grandchildren, for our great-grandchildren, for the rest of the planet's history, and leave it up to them, because we're going to be done in a certain period of time. And there is no golden chariot or a celestial kingdom gonna come down and carry us all off this earth in divine retribution for some guy who listened to his wife, who listened to a snake, disobeying the word of this guy who set the whole thing up in the first place. It's just stupid.
Actually, I've got a cartoon that makes that story make a lot more sense. It has the woman saying, the problem didn't start when I ate the apple. It started when I ate the mushroom. That's when the snake started talking.
Yeah, well, that does make sense. Anyway,
We got
sorry
a
to go
couple on
off on
camera.
sorry to go off on that crap, but Jesus Christ, we've got better fish to fry.
Yeah. And
Well, it makes at
unfortunately,
least as much sense as the snake does. What you said.
a lot of the problem we're having, I think, does go back to that so many of the Christians are believing, in the rapture or, you know, revelations or something like that, that they still regard the planet as disposable because they're expecting God to come down and take them all away to a divine place anyway. And I think that's why most of them won't take climate change seriously.
Yeah, we're just dirty rags. Place to wipe your feet. First life. You can get your real life afterwards. Man, I
Yeah.
just don't feel that. I just don't feel it. I love these people here now, and I don't know. I mean, I don't remember being alive before 1965. So I feel like it's going to be just about like that afterward. So I'd like to love these people now. And I mean, I have a fetish for brains. And I know that everybody here has got a brain in their skull. And man, I love those brains. I see what humans do with their
Sounds like an early
brains.
symptom of zombieism.
Yeah, the music they make and the machines they make and the medicine we've made and the friends we've made.
Yeah.
It to me, that's here now. It's here now. And I don't know, these people, you know what always gets me too is when their loved ones die, they're not happy. They're just as afraid or more afraid than any of us are. You know, they're not. They may be saying, "Oh, we're going to see Grandpa in heaven," but they're just as afraid as anybody.
I think even
And
more
you're
so
not supposed to
because
be
I
that
think,
way. You're Christians.
yeah, I think that the churches have taught most of them that they're going to hell anyway, because, it's impossible to go through even 20 years of life without breaking one of the cardinal rules.
Well, they told me I was going to hell.
Oh, they had me
There's nothing
convinced
I
of
could
it
do.
by the
I was
time I
going to
was
hell.
8 years old.
The thing that scares me the most about especially the hellfire and brimstone people, it's that they're making people's lives a hell.
Yep.
And that's what I mean about I don't care what your fucking belief is. I care what you're doing now. If you're making people's lives a hell now, you're an asshole.
Yeah, that's,
You're an asshole. Just
even
being a
given that they
dick.
could be right, why are you fucking up the only life that we're sure of on the chance that you may or may not be right?
I just don't understand how difficult that is. And it really, if I need to, I can flex into the gospel. It's like
Yeah.
if you're not clothing the naked, feeding the hungry, visiting those who are in prison, comforting the sick, then you're an asshole.
Yeah, what would be so wrong if you spent these 70 or 80 years that you get here being nice to each other?
I'd like that. I really would. I can't ever dream of owning an office tower or an airplane or any of that crap. And you know, I love the city and I love technology and all that, but sometimes when I go into the city, it's so depressing because I see all these office towers and I think, ah, so much money. You know, and I see the beautiful church architecture. And I love the architecture; it's beautiful, but it always comes down to I have to think to myself, look at all that money. And
Yeah,
I'll never see any of that. Just to me, money has failed.
and
I
half
just
of those office
I don't even
towers
want
sit
it.
empty.
They are. I've worked in those. I was an electrician for several years, and I went in a lot of those. You could go through floor after floor after floor, and you got to the one that we were putting up new walls and electrical stuff, and you know conduits and wires and switch plates and on and on and on. And you go up the floor, and you could look across the whole thing. Except all you could see was the elevator shaft. You know, of course, you know the elevator shaft had walls, but everything else was just empty. You go floor after floor after floor, and a lot of those office towers they're empty. But I just look at the towers themselves and I'm like, look at all those millions and millions and millions of dollars. And but what about the people? What about the people? I got told for years and years and years of my life, you're going to hell. For your loving God is going to send you to hell. Well, God said, "Thou shalt not kill," and then He killed all of them in Noah's freaking flood. If I thought that really, really happened, I don't know how much more madder I'd be than I am now. But that's what I got to say about it.
Oh my, Mikey showed up. Mikey isn't real.
Oh, hey, Mikey.
Hey, Mikey Famine. Love you, man. Good to see you. Boy, this is a long stream.
Jeder na kopasje kadadak. Oh, sorry, that's the other reason I mute my mic. I've got Tourette's, so I just, I tick random nonsense syllable strings. It's
Hey,
the way I managed to control the swearing that I just managed to convert it into things that no one will understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think people need to focus on the real. And I know no one who focuses on the real better than Mikey Famine. This let's look into the who this the who, how these links all link together. I mean, I don't know if y'all have seen uh got golly uh fun. I closed that link out earlier, but um the woman who was uh, an outspoken um, opponent of Islam, uh, what's her name? Oh, hold on. I'll find this. Wait a second. Did I lose it? Hassan Ali. I don't know. Damn. Kind of a. Let me think. You'll carry on.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Mm.
which one you're referring to. What you're
Oh,
looking for.
just carry on amongst yourselves for a moment while I try to find this thing, because it is kind of like crazy shit.
See, this is why I don't start a YouTube channel called the Angry Atheist, because I would say my piece in 30 seconds and then I'd be done. And so I haven't even learned to vamp yet. Maybe Purple knows how to vamp. We haven't heard enough from Jester yet.
I'm not sure what you mean by vamp here.
Yeah,
Vamping
carry
on
on.
show is you have to fill the dead air until the actual activity you're waiting for starts occurring. So that's what we will be doing. We're vamping until Stephanie finds or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
same.
I do
Looking
weekly
for it.
live
It's like,
streams,
it's
but
been, yes.
yeah, I do weekly live streams, but I never know how to fill those, dead silences when the topic winds down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through this things like I'm paying my bills and this and that and the other thing. It's like, wait a second.
What was
I
it? One
don't.
day I was on ACD and my cuckoo clock kept going off in everybody's ear while I was trying to talk. They said, "What
Yeah,
is
I
that?
remember
Cuckoo
that. That was
clock?" I
funny.
said, "Well, yeah, it was a cuckoo clock." The thing is, I had a cuckoo clock on the wall and a cuckoo clock in Second Life, and I had both of them going. So people, what is that? A cuckoo clock? Yep. I had to turn that off.
Yeah, I remember when my mom got a cuckoo clock and everybody thought it was so charming at first. And after about a week, it was, will somebody shut that damn thing up?
Oh, I love mine, but you have to wind it twice a day. Now I know what people mean when they say they're yanking my chain, because they literally have to go to that thing twice a day and yank its chain or it'll run down.
My mom's had like 6-foot chains on it. It was mounted high enough on the wall that if
Yeah.
you pulled the chains once, it was good for a full day.
Well, I wish this is hanging about 6.5 feet off the floor, and it's got about 6 feet of chain, and the time side will run until the ring hits the bottom of the clock. And then the weight is still hanging about 3-4 inches off the floor. So it will not run beyond 15 hours, and then it's gone. So sometimes I just get tired of winding it.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem if you got to do it more than once a day.
Yep, I wish it was an 8-day clock, and then I could wind it every week.
Well, what you need to do is get much
here it
longer
is.
chains and cut a hole in the floor under where the weights fall.
Unfortunately, it's a concrete floor.
Well, seriously, in I think it was Thomas Jefferson's home in Monticello that they did that.
Here we
That
go.
the weights actually hang down into the basement, so it only need to be wound once a week.
Yeah.
So here we go. Ayan Hirsi Ali. Y'all familiar with her?
I'm pretty ignorant generally.
Yeah, the name is not striking anything for me.
She was a very vocal anti-Muslim atheist, a woman who uh, grew up in Somalia and uh, became an atheist, was at one point in time considered to be like the fifth. Everybody apparently was considered the fifth horseman of the apocalypse.
Ah,
But today, Ayan Hirsi Ali, fellow of the Hoover Institution at Stanford University. Google the Hoover Institute. Super conservative place. Decided to come out with a I should hold on. I got to do this bullshit.
yeah, I was trying to come up with the name. There was a woman in Iran that had a movement had basically grown up around her because she was fighting the cultural rules about the clothing and such that women were supposed to wear.
Yeah, this is
And unfortunately, she wound up dying in police custody mysteriously. And it somehow leaked out of whatever their equivalent of the coroner's office was that her body showed signs of sexual abuse.
this is not that, bro. This is not that. This is an entirely different drill. And now
Yeah,
I've lost
different
my
country.
place.
I'm sorry. I distracted you there.
I've lost my way. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Now I'm kind of back again. Yeah. All right. Here I am. Wow. Present. Yes. Share screen. Da-da-da-da-da. I am now a Christian. There we go. We want to share that. Now,
Okay.
today,
No.
What?
yes.
Because it says, why I am now a Christian.
The text is a little hard for me to read.
It
In
says why she's not a
2002,
Christian.
in 2002, I discovered a 1927 lecture by Bertrand Russell entitled "Why I Am Not a Christian." It did not cross my mind as I read it that one day, nearly a century after he delivered it to the South London branch of the National Secular Society, I would be compelled to write an essay with
Oh,
precisely the opposite title. You know, you don't. If you don't know who this woman is, she was a fabulous anti-theist 20 years ago. she was a hero.
I still don't understand how that works. How you become an anti-theist and then go back to being a theist. I don't get it.
Turn your brain off.
That has to be it. But how do they get there?
The year before, I had publicly condemned the terrorist attacks of the 19 men who had hijacked passenger jets and crashed them into the Twin Towers in New York. They had done it in the name of my religion, Islam. I was a Muslim then, although not practicing one. If I truly condemned their action, then where did that leave me? Look, lady, if you're a practicing Muslim and you don't like what the Muslims who flew the fucking jets into the Twin Towers did, you can ask yourself, what does your religion compel you to do?
Yep.
And if you disagree with the conclusion of those 19 men as to what your religion compels you to do, then you have a sectarian dispute. Your religion doesn't compel you to fly fucking airplanes into fucking buildings. And you can be satisfied with that. And this is the thing. It's so fucking simple. I don't care
Yeah.
what you believe. I care what your fucking beliefs compare you to fucking do. So here's Ayaan Hirsi Ali. Says, oh well, these guys hijacked these passenger jets and flew them into a building, and it's like that caused me great distress as someone who believes in Islam. But your belief in Islam didn't compel you to think it's a great idea to do that. God. Anyway, they'd done it in the name of my religion. In the name of my religion. I was a Muslim then, not a practicing one. If I truly condemned their action, where did that leave me? Kind of on the side of don't fly fucking airplanes into buildings. The underlying principle that justified the attacks was religious. After all, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. Yeah. All right. Oh, I can't even fucking say what I'm doing. Yeah. After all, the idea of jihad or holy war against the infant, it was, after all, the idea of jihad or holy war against the infidels. Now, may I digress just a moment? jihad or the let's get rid of the the vowels JHD. That Arabic root means struggle. It has the notion of struggle. It also has the notion of inquiry. It also has the notion of science. It has a number of notions in the Arabic language. I'm not making apologies for it, but it's a fact. Jihad is not necessarily holy war against the infidels. Jihad is a struggle. Ijtihad is science in Arabic. That's what it means. So, was it possible for me, as for many members of the Muslim community, simply to distance myself from the action and its horrific results? At the time, there are many eminent leaders in the West, politicians, scholars, journalists, and other experts who insisted that the terrorists were motivated by reasons other than the ones that they and their leader Osama bin Laden had articulated so clearly. So Islam had an alibi. I think this is a problem. Don't you? Don't you? Here's this woman basically saying it's like Islam had an alibi.
Well,
Faith?
they saying that Islam is a religion of peace. I don't believe it.
It doesn't matter. Islam is. Does Christianity have an alibi?
I don't think any of them do. Frankly, I think they're all the absolutely worst thing we ever came up with.
I agree.
If you know, I don't see any religion that cares about humans. They all care about something that's not humans. I mean, that's not too bad if you're interested in being one with the universe, but that's not my top pick. My top pick is you should care about humans, and by extension, the animals and the environment and whatnot. I don't, you know, one with the universe is way down the list for me. So I mean, if you come up with the best religion there is, it's one with the universe. That's to me is still misleading. I need to be one with humanity instead of the universe.
I think MCARB, I don't think anything has a fucking alibi.
No, and nothing has an alibi.
I don't think that beliefs can be. I don't think that beliefs are anywhere near close to in the abstract. I don't think they're anywhere near close to being agents. Like you don't need to have any sort of religious belief to rob a bank. I mean, you can assert you have one that you can say, God told me to rob, my God told me to rob a bank. But that, you know, and plenty of Christians have robbed banks. Did they do it for Christ? No. Plenty of other people, Muslims have robbed banks. Did they do it for Allah? Or Muhammad? No. They did it for the money.
But did they give 10% to their church? That's what I want to know.
Well, maybe. But the point, and when you look at it in a political contest, what was Bin Laden saying? It's like, get the fuck off the Arabian Peninsula, U.S. Just get the hell out. And it was a political thing. It had nothing to do with religion. It was cloaked in religious language. And maybe he devoutly believed it, but it has nothing to do with it. Has to do with power. So this is I am not now a Christian after being an atheist. And she was big in the atheist community for a while. There were many eminent leaders in the West, politicians, blah, 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 blah. So Islam had an alibi. Bullshit. This excuse making was not only condescending towards Muslims, it also gave Westerners a chance to retreat into denial. Blaming the errors of U.S. foreign policy was easier than contemplating the possibility that we were confronted with a religious war. We have seen a similar tendency in the past 5 weeks as millions of people sympathetic to the plight of Gazans seek to rationalize the October 7th terrorist attacks as a justified response to the policies of the Israeli government. Again, I'll stop and say that I think the slaughter of civilians. Somebody's sleeping.
Yeah, I think we lost Purple.
I'm still here.
Oh.
I'm still listening for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Yeah,
You
I don't
know
know.
if it
Maybe
was
maybe I did drop off for a couple of minutes there.
That's cool.
I've been running long, and sometimes I can do that for a few minutes without even being aware of it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'll start snoring while I'm awake, apparently. I don't know
All
how
right.
that.
So, I'm stopping here to just saying that with the current situation in Canaan, we can call it any number of things. Isn't it funny how humans have ways of labeling the land according to how they wish the polity to lay out? I could call Canaan. I could call it Palestine. I could call it Israel Palestine. I could call it any. I could call it any number of things. But what's happening right now is that an area the size of Detroit has been has had over 36 kilotons of ordnance unloaded on it by another by a nation state. Do you know how large the Hiroshima bomb was? It's 16 kilotons. So really, over the entire yield ordinance of explosives have been unloaded in Gaza in the past month than the two fission bombs used in World War II. I'm not sure that's progress.
Well, a part I
Never
found
mind the ideologies. Again, I don't care about your ideology. I care what you do with it.
the part I found really disgusting was that they were targeting hospitals.
Well, there's that too. I mean, that's damn it.
Yeah, the whole situation is just yeah. There's nothing you can say about it. There just aren't words to describe it.
I don't care. Well, it's been a long time. I don't know where you stand in regards to all of this, but I'll let it fly for a while. Any mods in there? Keep an eye. Anywho, Yeah. The excuse making was not only condescending toward Muslims, it was also gave many Westerners a chance to retreat into denial, blaming the errors of U.S. foreign policy was easier than contemplating the possibility that we were confronted with a religious war. I mean, you kind of need to think about what Likud and Shas and what they're all about. I mean, Shas especially is a settler party that gives Likud backing in the Knesset. I mean, all of these things are political. And they find their basis in religion. Not so much on Likud's front, but certainly on Shas's front. Shas believes that Eretz Israel is from the Euphrates to the Nile. And they honestly believe that. For those of you unfamiliar with the geography of the region, the Euphrates is in Iraq and the Nile is in Egypt. So I would posit that in some sense, some of this is religious war, and Ayan seems to be coming down on the side of I don't know. Well, let's just say one side.
Oof.
When I read Russell's lecture, I found my cognitive. Jesus Christ! I just want to go. It's like she goes on into like Bertrand Russell got her out of Islam. Let's get down to what got her into Christianity. So she gets out of Islam. As an atheist, I thought I would lose that fear. Russell argued it was rooted in fears. Fear of the basis of the whole thing, fear of the mysterious, fear of defeat, fear of death. As an atheist, I thought I would lose that fear. I also found an entirely new circle of friends as different from the preachers of the Muslim Brotherhood as one could imagine. The more time I spent with them, people such as Christopher Hitchens and Richard Dawkins, the more confident I felt that I had made the right choice. For the atheists were clever. They were also a great deal of fun. So what changed? Why do I call myself a Christian now? Well, now listen to this. Part of the answer is global. Western civilization. Remember, this woman is from Somalia. Part of the answer is global. Western civilization is under threat from three different but related forces. The resurgence of great power authoritarianism and expansionism in the forms of the Chinese Communist Party and Vladimir Putin's Russia, the rise of global Islamism, which threatens to mobilize a vast population against the West, and the viral spread. Okay, we're taking care of the foreign threat. Let's go to woke ideology, which is eating into the moral fiber of the next generation. We endeavor to fend off these threats with modern secular tools, military, economic, diplomatic, and technological efforts to defeat, bribe, persuade, appease, or surveil. And yet, with every round of conflict, we found ourselves losing ground. We were either running out of money with our national debt in the tens of trillions of dollars, or we are losing our lead in the technological race with China. But we can't fight off these formidable forces unless we can answer the question, what is it that unites us? The response that God is dead seems insufficient. So, too, does the attempt to find solace in the rules-based international order. The only credible solution, I believe, lies in our desire to uphold the legacy of the Judeo-Christian tradition.
Oh,
legacy-
fuck that Christian God. Ah!
Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ our royal master leads against the throng, forward into battle, lead our legions on. Thank you so much. I appreciate your indulgence. That legacy consists of an elaborate set, no shit, of ideas and institutions designed to safeguard human life, freedom, and dignity.
I thought it was the glory of God.
No. That was the Cathars. Kill them all. God will know who's. Yeah. And so I've come to realize that Russell and my atheist friends fail to see the wood for the trees. The wood is a civilization built on Judeo-Christian trees. It's the story of the West. Watson. Russell, I don't look at the trees. My God. Anyway, yeah, so and the worst part is really the final paragraph of Bishan's This is why I no longer consider myself a Muslim apostate, but a lapsed atheist. Of course, I still have a great deal to learn about Christianity. Maybe, Ishan, you haven't grokked that Christianity asserts that a young woman who's never had sex can, get knocked up. And that a human being can be executed and, consider it a lost weekend. Come on, Vince. You know what? I just want to show you where Ion is hanging out these days. It's on a site that's called Unheard. She is also a consultant or working for the Hoover Institution at Stanford. In other words, she's getting wingnut welfare, as so many of these idiots are. It's like, yeah, let's just go back. Yeah. Unheard. Oh,
I think I've heard Christians throughout my entire life shouting loudly from the mountaintops. So when a Christian joins a site called Unheard, I don't even know how to believe it.
I just want to show you who the unheard are.
Oh, I can't wait.
Kathleen Stock. Let's just take a look at Kathleen Stock. Oh my God. I just can't. Kathleen Stock is a notorious British transphobe. There's our gal, Ion, joining up with the team. Julie Bindel. Look at this story. Julie Bindel, how the Cleveland scandal silenced General. This was all about trans kids. This is a fucking wait. Yeah. Damn. I can't pull that right away. I wish I could have done. I need to clip that. A villainous hive of scum and villainy. This is a terrible, terrible place that this woman who previously made her bones on the lecture circuit as a atheist is now ain't making the coin ain't going so you know I gotta go I gotta make another I gotta make another I gotta make another choice. So all right, sorry guys, I sort of rolled on that whole bullshit, but let's go back to what's going on.
Whew. I am just so tired of hearing that atheism is supposedly why we run into moral degeneracy.
Huh.
I mean, I want people to live long and happy lives, and to have roofs over their heads and full bellies, and I'm morally degenerate for that, I guess.
I just keep realizing every day, the more I see stuff like this unheard webpage you took us to, that I keep thinking it's really bad. It's really, and then I see another thing that's really bad, and it just keeps going really bad. And I still, when I think of people who were atheists becoming some other religion, I don't understand how to go back. If somebody were to tell me that, well, on your dying bed, you're gonna convert to Christianity again, I don't know how to go back. I can't relate to the rest of humanity that has a religion, whether it's Islam or Christianity or whatever it is. I don't know much about physics, and I don't know much about math, and I don't know much about chemistry and biology, but I do know enough that I can see the round shadow on the moon, and I don't know how to go back to Jesus. And people are, well, don't you want to believe in a thing like that? I'm like, no, I don't. I was tortured by that thing that was created by a man thousands of years ago. And all the ones that were before that. I don't want that thing. And I don't even know how she can go and say, well, now I'm a Christian. I don't know how I would do it. And I can't understand how anybody else can do it. To say that, oh, well, the West was built on Judeo-Christian values. Do you think that Judeo-Christian values were being thought of when the transistor was invented, when the vacuum tube was invented, when the integrated circuit was invented, when we launched, when they launched Sputnik and we subsequently launched Telstar and on and on? Do you think they were thinking about God Almighty when they were doing that stuff? And don't the Christians ever think, well, maybe I should put my cell phones and cars down and go get me a horse and move out into the country and get away from all these scientists that are uber shit and they're doing the devil's work? How can you be talking about science doing the devil's work while you're talking on your cell phone and driving down the road in your car and going to grocery stores where somebody's pre-killed for you? All of society, you're going to say that it was built on Judeo-Christian value? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I would have had 100 videos saying this same shit if I didn't think I'd probably run out in the first one. Maybe it's just practice. I don't know. I might try it one day. Praise the Lord.
And pass the ammunition.
Yes, Jesus would be so proud of that passing of the ammunition.
Or pass the contributions. I mean,
that's it. Here's the plate.
I get it. I get why people want to believe. It's like Ishan. It's like at the end of the day, it was like I felt a void. And I think that's where people land frequently. It's like they feel a void. And the meaning in their own life, which is peculiar when thinking about a life that Ishan has lived. It's tremendously meaningful. So I have to wonder why. Securing a position at the Hoover Institution, securing a position of a guaranteed gig at something, posting Christian polemics. Yeah, okay. But that also calls into question what all of us do. In terms of eyeballs on screens, asses in seats, monetization, this and that and the other thing. There's a whole thing going on with with modern day debates and other, all this other stuff. It's like, well, how much do you really care about the real stuff and how much do you really care about making a buck? And there's always a balance there. But my little razor says, what are you doing it for? Who's benefiting? What are you doing it for? Are you doing it for fun? This is what, going back to the colloquy between Tux and I and by proxy, Doug, what are you doing this for? You doing it for fun? You doing it for yucks? Doing it for money? doing it for clicks, doing it for videos. What are you doing it for? And that seems like a reasonable metric. If you're doing it for if you're doing it for a con, like you don't believe, but you're doing it anyway, that's a little bit dicey. If you're doing it for nothing, like, it's just a sort of a carnival show, that's likely to get you some more money because people like a carnival show. If you're doing it for deeply held belief and because you really fucking care and you're willing to to dump all your heart and soul into it, even if you're wrong and everybody throws you under the bus, well, you got my respect. You do. You do. Even if you're doing it in opposition to what I'm doing it for, because I'm doing the same goddamn thing. I mean, those are the people that aren't bullshitting. Those are the people that aren't that are staking their ground. And those are the people that fight. The people in the middle, they don't care. They don't care. They don't give a shit.
I guess those are the ones in the pews standing next to you with their hymn book out, and they don't know how to sing in key, and they're just showing up because they're supposed to, and voting because they're supposed to for the wrong side, and putting their money in the plate. Those ones, I guess.
I mean, I want the people who say they care to actually care and push. That was kind of the frustration I have. That's the frustration I have with talks. It's like, Doug's wrong, but don't do anything about it.
I just can't. I mean, after Noah's flood, I can't do anything. Noah's flood. I mean, that to me, that's. I mean, this my realization of this came after. When I was 25, I had been praying and trying, and I had already been through the Navy, and I came out on the other side, and I was still a Christian. I was still going to the same church, and there was nobody home. The guy upstairs was never home. I kept talking to him, but nobody ever talked back. But it was years later when I was like, I actually read the stuff more than I ever had when I was in church, and I was like, "Thou shalt not kill." And then he killed all of us, or at least that's the story. And I could, after that, I was like, that's it. There's nobody home, and the story sucks. I'm an atheist, and I don't know how to go back now. Noah's flood. I'm not asking you if you believe Noah's flood. I'm asking you, do you believe that that story could have gotten written and attributed to God? Noah's flood. There's no
Yeah.
logic at all in Noah's flood. How do the penguins get to Antarctica? How do you get the trees and the flowers back? It doesn't even matter where you find an outcropping of rocks that sort of looks like a boat. It's not Noah's flood. For real? For real. And then you look at all the other religions and you think, well, you know, Christianity's maybe ridiculous, but, you know, surely splitting the moon is, oh, wait, that's
Rather silly.
a mess
But
too. Isn't it?
they're all just stories. It's all just stories, and it's all okay. You can read them, believe them, not believe them, be resentful of the fact that people told you, oh, no, this nonsense was all true. It's all good, but it's no way to run a railroad in
Or a
the
world.
real world. That's the point.
I watched a little sci-fi thing called Babylon 5. You might have heard of it. And
Oh
there's
yeah,
one
I love Babylon
episode
5.
where
Absolutely great.
I loved that show. But there's one episode where they the different alien species come in and they present their little blurb of what their faith was about. And then the Earthlings bring in all of their 100 sects of different, and they say, well, you know, this is a Sikh, and this is a Baptist, and this is a Catholic, and here's a Jew, and on and on. How beautiful it is that now we all get along. And I was like, yeah, that's some fantasy, isn't it? I sure would be nice if we did all get along and just said,
It would
well,
be.
okay, humanity is the most important thing. And then after that, maybe we'll think about that.
Yeah.
You know,
Well-
it was a beautiful scene and it was a depressing scene at the same time.
Yep. Well, that's basically where it's at. Wouldn't it be nice if the humanity is
Well,
the most
yeah.
important thing.
I wish it were.
Yeah. Well, it
It's
is.
about the glory of God. Oh, it is to me. But I've been surrounded for them my whole life to the glory of God. God needs your 10%. You know, we can. This was another thing that contributed to my atheism, which I didn't know it was doing it, but it was just another nail in the coffin. I went to a session Wednesday night. You know, Wednesday night is when all the business happens in the church. It's a prayer meeting, but it's also a business meeting. And I was there, and they said, "Listen, we're gonna have to put a new roof on this building, or you know, the thing's gonna fall down, and it's gonna cost us $1 million to put a roof on this beautiful sanctuary." And he said, "You may not see it now, but you know that wall's leaking, and that wall over there is leaking. This and that, no, or we can just spend $4 million and build a beautiful new building over there on this such and such property." And I stood up and I said, you know, I raised my hand. They let me stand up, and I stood up and I said, "Listen, why don't we take the $1 million and put a roof on our community building here that all the old ladies just love to walk to on Sunday morning, and you know, where we can, you know, disperse our charities, which are not too great considering how much we spent for that organ last year. And then you can take that other $3 million and give it to the poor, and give it to the sick, and give it to the homeless, and give it, you know, the clothing and the medical care, and on and on and on. And on.
Oh my.
Mr. Carpenter, you need to sit down. We've got other things to talk about." And that was my last thing that I ever said in a church. And I was told that you should sit down because that's not our plan here. Well, why did you ask? Why did you ask? You know, we used to spend $1 million on a brand new organ. You know how much they raised for Lottie Moon? $5,000. That's one of their biggest charities. $5,000 compared to the glory of the Lord instrument that we just put behind the shutters over there, behind the baptismal. We spent more on than we ever would. How many years you added up all of the charity? They talk about how Christianity does charity work and atheists fall short. Well, I'm sorry. You want to talk about comparison to what you could have done and what you have done. Spend $1 million and $4 million on your new damn building. And all your people with your gold cufflinks and on, and you had to pay, you couldn't afford to pay the preacher we had a few more dollars. You had to get your high dollar PhD doctor from whatever it is. I don't know who gives out those dang PhDs to preachers. And I just,
Depends.
yeah, and they spent all that money, and then $5,000 to Lottie Moon. That's such a penny. Such a penny.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is exactly where I have problems with the disparity between particularly Christian doctrine and Christian practice, because it's always been about the do re mi, and it's absolutely a clue as to where the doctrine comes from, right? I mean, it's just, if you look at early Christian doctrine, it's fundamentally apocalyptic. It's like, kingdom of God is coming. If you look at some of like, if you look at the Gospel of Thomas and the words, the kingdom of God is spread upon the earth and men do not see it. That's a completely different vision of a story that tells people to pay attention to the here and now. Pay attention for as long as there is a here and now. And there won't be. Yes, the end of the earth is real. Because nothing lasts. Your life doesn't last. So, what is the best you can do? The best
Pale
you
blue
can
dot.
do.
Pale blue dot. You got to think about the pale blue dot. Carl Sagan
That's
said
exactly it. Yeah, exactly.
humanity.
That's it.
All the
That's
people
it.
you ever knew and killed and loved and hated, all on
There.
all on the little dot.
Yeah, that's basically it. So there are tales to be told out of every story that's ever been written in human tradition that have religious significance. That have a God in them and that don't. I mean, philosophy doesn't necessarily have a God hanging in them, but these are stories. Think about them. Regis is right. Christian doctrine is apocryphal. Who'd have think? Who'd have thunk it? I think the most pernicious thing about Christian tradition is the apocryphal nature of it. And rather, rather than urging people to think about the here and now and what is necessary to make life better in the here and now, it's just to put faith in Christ and God and the coming of the next age. That's like eh, it's a cop out. It's a cop out.
Well, you'll be praising God forever and ever and ever at his right hand side. Streets of gold, the mansion.
Yeah.
I always hated that picture.
Anyway,
I couldn't, he had both sides.
I am growing weary.
Yep,
And I appreciate everyone who's hung through this whole thing on my 21st anniversary. I appreciate all of you guys so much, and I hate being an old Cassandra. I just hate it. I just wish people would get over this like tip where we have to keep going through the same old shit time after time. I watched our Mark Reed's stream reviewing Dillahunty's thing with Modern Day Debate. Modern Day Debate is
kind of trash.
They're doing what they do. They're eyeballs on screens and asses in seats, and I don't know why anybody's surprised about it. Why is anybody surprised? It's like, here's my take on that whole thing. They shouldn't have platformed that guy. And when the debate went off the rails, they should have just said, debate went off the rails. You didn't want to address the subject, you're done. But no. Didn't want to address the subject. We'll give you another 35 minutes to rail on about how nasty trans people are.
Yeah, my whole take on that was just that it shouldn't have been Dillahunty's job to call him out on not discussing the topic at all.
No, that was on MDD. It wasn't a debate. It was a show. It was the Gong Show. And if that's how they want their channel to operate, great. Just tell every participant that it's not a debate. It's the Gong Show. That's cool. That's cool. Just be honest about it.
Pretty much. I mean, I would have I don't want to run a debate channel, but if I was running a debate channel and I paid somebody to debate about one topic and they did that far off of there, I'd be like, you owe me my money back. You're not fulfilling the contract at all.
Yep. So it ran from that. This was my trajectory. Is like, geez. Mark Reed reviewing that and then going into Tux, and it's like, okay.
The gauntlet of the night.
I'm tired of apologists for people who are being terrible to people I care about and to people like me. I'm tired of it. And for people in the community to basically say, well, you're too sensitive and you're blah blah blah, and you ought to listen to this and listen to that. It's like, no, not really. For someone to tell me that a guy who calls himself Pine Creek and has a first name that I don't know, that I ought to be charitable to him, when he basically says your childhood should have been as miserable as it was because you were too young to appreciate who you were. And you needed to be traumatized to the extent that you couldn't deal with it for 40 years. You can go fuck yourself. You can go fuck your fucking self. Pine Creek, Doug, whoever the fuck you are, with your 50,000 subs on your main channel and your 6,500. My name is Stephanie Catherine Helms. What's yours? Where were you born? What's your story? You won't tell anyone. You don't care to, because you are a coward.
Remember, P-Town wouldn't show himself in several videos that he was sitting at a little round table with his wife, Arn, and his wife talking to P-Town. And P-Town was out over there, off camera. You couldn't see him. And then P-Town comes in with Arn Raw, this last video, with the red face and the mustache and whatnot, and the stupid hair.
Yeah.
I can only get on camera because my wife said I could.
I don't really care about these people. I really don't. Really don't. Anyway, that was a last burst of energy. But I appreciate everybody who's hung around, and appreciate you guys for stopping in, and we shall see you later. Bye. And stream.